Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a healing tradition, really rooted in centuries of observation, yeah, and deeply intertwined with spiritual belief. We're talking about specialists whose expertise, was once dismissed by colonial powers.
Completely dismissed, often actively suppressed.
Yet sometimes these same powers were amazed by what they could do. So the question is, what if some of these ancient remedies actually hold the key to modern diseases, things that still challenge us today?
It's a truly fascinating question to start with as we begin our deep dive. We're really getting into the intricate world of African indigenous medicine today,
Right.
exploring how these traditional healing systems have, well, historically intersected with and sometimes clashed quite dramatically with Western scientific perspectives.
Now, we've got some great sources guiding us.
We do. Two comprehensive ones. First, there's a really rich ethnographic study focusing on African indigenous medicine, specifically among the Bono people of Ghana. And second, a quite rigorous scientific review. This one looks at the pharmacological research on medicinal plants from all across the African continent. So a broad scope there.
Great. So our mission here is to get a rapid but still thorough understanding of this, complex and really vital topic.
Absolutely.
We'll start by trying to uncover the philosophical foundations, the deep roots of African healing.
The worldview behind it all.
Exactly. Then we'll peek into the scientific validation, what modern science says about these plant-based remedies.
It's just quite compelling, as we'll see.
And finally, we need to grapple with this ongoing dialogue about integration versus maybe distinct pathways for healing. How should these systems interact with global healthcare?
Or if they should, in the way often proposed.
Right. Ultimately, we want to understand not just what these systems are, but why they matter so profoundly. Historically and right now, for you, our listener, in the global health landscape.
A big task, but a crucial one.
Okay, so let's begin. Let's ground ourselves in that rich cultural and spiritual bedrock of Akan indigenous medicine, particularly focusing on the Bono people in Ghana. And it's so crucial right from the start to get this. This isn't just about a list of herbs or remedies.
Not at all. It's a whole worldview, a complete way of understanding existence, illness, well-being, everything.
Holistic worldview.
That's the key word, holistic. The spiritual and societal fabric in Akan culture is completely interwoven with the healing process itself. You simply can't separate them.
Absolutely. So central to this worldview is their understanding of the divine and its emissaries, let's say.
Right.
The Akan acknowledge Onyankop, the creator. Now, what's really interesting here is that Onyankop, and it's always acknowledged first, holds the supreme position, right? But is almost never given libation, that traditional offering.
Which might seem counterintuitive at first glance.
Exactly, but it's not disregard. It's actually a profound understanding that the creator is an integral part of creation itself.
Inseparable. Always present.
Woven into the very fabric of everything.
And that insight that the creator is omnipresent within creation directly influences how the Akan view the natural world. It explains why they see healing power as residing inherently within natural elements.
Because those elements are manifestations of the creator's own being.
Precisely, which leads us to the concept of bosom, or plural of bosom.
Ah, yes, bosom. Now, these terms often get translated, maybe inaccurately, into English as shrine or deity.
Very inaccurately, often. The sources emphasize a much deeper, more nuanced meaning rooted right in the Akan language in the etymology.
Okay, so help us unpack that. What does bosom truly mean?
Well, the term bosom doesn't mean one who serves stone that would involve boof for stone. Instead, the etymology points to something much more profound.
Go on.
It suggests entities that serve an unlimited, invaluable purpose. The du refers to an entity, some means to serve, and bu implies something priceless, limitless, precious.
Wow, okay, so not separate gods.
No, more like powerful spiritual manifestations. Emissaries of the creator, maybe, residing in specific natural places.
Like
the ocean, rivers, lakes, streams, mountains, forests, trees, specific plants. These places become sacred.
Protected.
Yes, protected as life-sustaining sources, precisely because elements of the creator's power, the creator's essence, are understood to reside within all creation.
That really reframes the usual Western understanding, doesn't it?
Completely.
And it goes further. There are other names, appellations, for the creator that illuminate this connection even more.
Like Twi Duan.
Meaning the tree which, when leaned upon, does not break. It emphasizes reliability, steadfastness, a dependable refuge.
Or Edaman Koma.
The only giver of grace.
Yeah.
Signifying that benevolent gifting nature.
Then there's Tate Botan.
The ancient rock. Speaking to that eternal stability, the enduring foundation.
And Ebloma Buafri.
The one called upon in times of distress. Highlighting the Creator's role in human suffering, being there when needed.
And finally, Berkir Isinuada.
The one who sees behind and knows all, pointing to that all-encompassing omniscience.
You see, these aren't just names. They're profound poetic descriptions. They capture this intricate, deeply spiritual, theological understanding where the divine is actively present, influential in daily life and the natural world.
Very rich cosmology.
Extremely. And it naturally underpins their understanding of the human being, Onipa, and individual destiny.
So the human being, Onipa, is tied to Okra.
Yes, Okra is understood as the soul, literally from God, imbued with a specific mission or destiny to fulfill. It's distinct from Sunsum.
And Sunsum is.
More like a spiritual factor or substance contributing to one's being, but not that direct divine spark like the Okra.
Got it. And this destiny, it's not passive, is it? You mentioned Kribia and Hybira?
Right. Both refer to destiny or mission. And here's the fascinating part, perhaps the most striking for a Western listener.
Yes.
The Akan belief that one actually chooses their temporal mission before leaving the spiritual world.
Chooses it.
Yes. But here's where it gets really empowering. While the creator isn't responsible for that initial choice,
Okay.
one can appeal to the creator to reverse a chosen haijubi.
So there's agency even after the choice.
Exactly. It implies this dynamic relationship between free will, divine will, and crucially profound personal responsibility.
So if you choose your mission, how are you expected to live your life?
That's precisely where Abraham comes in. It's defined as the ethical ideal in existence.
Ah.
It's the realization of your mission in the temporal world with a strong emphasis on selflessness, moral choices, living according to communal values. It's not just about you, it's about the collective good.
And there's that powerful proverb that really drives this home.
The one about Kwamena.
Yes. Befanteni Kwamena Sanoni Abrabu Ara Ajib.
Which translates to,
The Fante person named Kwamena or Kwabena said, if your life is not good, it is you who lived it, and so there is no one else to blame.
it's a stark reminder, isn't it? Destiny is chosen, but its manifestation, the Abrab, comes down to your actions, your moral compass.
So how is all this vast, intricate, ethically charged knowledge kept alive?
Through orality. The sources stress the critical role of orality as a living knowledge archive.
And this isn't just campfire stories.
Absolutely not. It's a rigorous system for preserving and transmitting sacred, institutionalized knowledge with incredible fidelity.
Right, and the consequences for messing it up, for distorting or reinterpreting these oral texts, they're serious.
Incredibly serious, ranging from physical health problems to even potentially loss of life.
Wow.
It underscores the rigorous training needed, training the ear and tongue for verbatim recall. It's about ensuring the fidelity, the sanctity of the wisdom passed down.
A profound commitment to accuracy.
It really is. The source draws an analogy to Hampateba's concept of doma or soma, those who know.
Okay.
These individuals are committed to speaking only what they heard. No embellishment, no alteration.
Unlike the jelly or griot.
Exactly. The Jali might have two tongues, implying more artistic license in storytelling or history. This distinction really highlights the precision expected in the Ekin system.
It makes sense.
Ultimately, this deep spiritual connection, this reverence for nature, it's all foundational to how medicine is understood and practiced. It's not just remedies.
It's integral.
Integral to maintaining cosmic balance, ethical existence within the community. The cultural beliefs are completely interwoven with the healing itself.
Okay, so having laid that really profound spiritual and ethical groundwork, let's turn to the people. The individuals who embody and practice this wisdom, the indigenous healers.
Right. Who are they?
Who are these vital figures in Ekin society? What are their distinct roles? And how do they approach illness within this deeply spiritual framework we've just explored?
Well, the first thing the sources emphasize is that being a healer isn't just a job, it's a calling. It's part of your nature.
Like Aikwe Arma wrote in The Healers, I love this quote. The healer must first have a healer's nature. You see why healing can't be a popular vocation. The healer would rather see and hear and understand than have power over men.
That captures it perfectly, that selflessness, that commitment to understanding over power. It is a vocation.
So within that context, who are the main types of healers?
The sources identify three main categories among the Akan, each with distinct roles.
Okay, first up.
The Abuzumfu, plural Abuzumfu. These are the custodians of those abuzum we talked about.
Right, the spiritual forces in nature.
Exactly. The tupazome is typically stationary, deeply tied to a specific matriclan, and holds immense authority in Bono society, often even more than political leaders like the Takimenhan.
Really? More than political leaders.
In many contexts, yes. Their commitment is often a family obligation, a deep, multi-generational responsibility to their community and their bosom.
Okay, that's the tubusfur. Who's next?
Then you have the Yukumfu, plural akon. Now, this role is gender neutral. An omofo is skilled in divination and is also attached to an ovusum, but they're generally more mobile than the bosumfo.
And their role historically.
Well, in Asante society, omofo were sometimes state instruments. Think of Omfo Anoki, who co-founded Asantamen. In Bono society, though, they're generally seen as junior to the bosumfo.
Can they inherit their position?
They can engage in spiritual communion and may inherit their omazum, but only if they're from the same matrilineage that owns it. And a key difference: unlike the dosumfo, they can choose to leave their abosum.
Okay, so ombusumfur, omfo, and the third type.
The Nunsinfu, singular Odunsini. These are the herbalists. They specialize specifically in plant medicines.
The plant experts.
Precisely. And it's important to stress the training for all these healers is ongoing. It's lifelong.
Not just a course they take.
No. It involves extensive travel, sharing knowledge with other healers, insights from dreams, direct communication with the bosom, help from spiritual entities called a fofo, and crucial guidance from Nananum Onsimfo, the elder ancestors.
It sounds incredibly comprehensive.
It is, and the sources even give examples of actual healers interviewed, which makes it feel very real.
Like Nani Oboke.
Yes, an Odunsini whose father was a World War II veteran who passed on his knowledge. Or Nana Kwakuwefe Kenton, an Obusamfo for a river spirit, Droe.
In the younger generation.
Omfo Kwabenanyanko is mentioned, representing that ongoing lineage. And even someone like Kwame Mamadou, originally from Burkina Faso, but operating an herbal center in Takiman, showing that cross-cultural exchange.
Fascinating. Now let's talk about a core concept, a ko. This word often gets misunderstood in the West.
Hugely misunderstood,
Yeah.
often wrongly translated as just a con religion or even just a possession dance.
So what is a ko, really?
The sources describe it as something far more expansive. It's both process and procedure, unbounded by time or space.
Okay.
It connects everything: rituals, medicine, spiritual entities, the specialists. It's the whole spiritual cultural life of the Akan, an overarching concept for the interaction between visible and invisible worlds.
And there's that phrase, Ampanye Adapa.
Yes. Ancient or elder Arang is a good thing, and it has layers of meaning.
Like the good cloth.
Exactly. Nana Kofi Karame explained it as a metaphor for culture, tradition passed down without fading, resilient, and it also refers to the ancient Adam itself.
So healers see Adam as inherently good.
Universally. Created by the Creator to solve human problems, save lives. Rooted in creation itself. It fundamentally blurs that artificial Western line between natural and supernatural.
It's all one integrated reality for them.
Precisely. And this worldview extends directly to how they understand sickness, yara, and healing.
So, yare and sickness. It's not simple.
Not at all. It's multifaceted. It always requires huyamu,
Meaning?
careful, thorough looking, to find the root cause and the right treatment. It's like diagnosis, but much broader.
And the most notable category of illness.
That would be sansamyar, often translated as spiritually linked disease.
Okay, what does that entail?
The sources describe it as a recurring, persistent illness, one that doesn't really respond well to conventional medicine alone.
Right.
And here's the crucial part. Many people in the Banataki-Man area, including hospital workers who know both systems.
Even hospital workers.
Yes, they believe sansamyaria is best handled by an obuzumfu, or omfod, and the abuzum.
Why? What's the danger?
Because it's believed it can literally destroy a person's personality, and by extension, affect the personality, the well-being of the entire nation.
So it's seen as a societal ailment, not just individual.
Exactly. It impacts the collective spirit, the social order.
This classification really highlights the paradigm difference, doesn't it? Healing isn't just biological.
Not even close. It's deeply embedded in the social and spiritual fabric. A recurring illness might not just be physical, it could be a sign of spiritual imbalance affecting everyone.
Which naturally brings us to the concept of Bay,
Yeah.
usually translated as witchcraft.
Right, but again, the translation is limiting. Bay is understood as a power or energy. It can be used positively or negatively.
Positively, too.
Potentially. There's even a suggestion its etymology might come from Pariyai, meaning it will be good or all right, hinting at a potential that can be channeled, not just inherently evil.
But it is often associated with harm.
Yes. The term avofo is gender neutral, though usually applied to females who often outnumber males, abeya bonsam. And crucially, the damage often occurs within their own blood relatives.
Within the family.
Yes, suggesting abeya acts as a powerful metaphor for forces that disrupt the Akan social order, which is rooted in the abusua, the mother-centered family. It's an attack on the very fabric of society.
That societal dimension is critical. And you mentioned a proverb about personal responsibility.
Yes. Obi nam aduro mayarofo.
Meaning someone else does not drink medicine for a patient.
Exactly. It emphasizes that while the community and healer have roles, the individual's own participation and commitment are vital for the healing to work.
And this idea of integrity extends to the healers themselves.
Absolutely. The sources are very clear about what makes a corrupt or unrighteous healer.
Such as?
Someone unable to withstand external forces that might weaken their practice. Someone whose no-hadi their actions, their behavior are poor, their suban, their character is flawed, their attitude is bad.
And crucially,
Refusing medicine to those who can't afford it, that's a key sign of corruption.
which brings us back to Arma's quote.
Precisely. True healers value seeing, hearing, understanding over power. A selfless commitment to well-being, it reveals a deeply ingrained ethical code.
Okay, so we have this incredibly rich, holistic system with deeply ethical practitioners. Now, what does modern science say about the actual plants they use? Let's zoom in there.
Right, the pharmacology. The scientific community has been actively researching the chemical compounds, bridging that gap between traditional knowledge and modern science.
So what have they found? What really stands out?
Well, what's truly fascinating is the sheer diversity of natural products science has identified in these remedies.
So it's not just one or two active ingredients.
Far from it. The sources say most preparations use leaves or roots, often with peppers and ginger. And interestingly, healers often prefer savanna plants over forest ones.
Why is that?
They believe the savanna plants have more power from greater sun exposure.
Interesting detail. But stepping back, what's the big takeaway here for our listener? What should they remember about the scientific validation?
The core insight, I think, is this. These are not just folk remedies. African plants are literal natural pharmaceutical factories,
Okay.
producing incredibly complex compounds with scientifically verified potency against serious global health challenges, resistant bacteria, aggressive cancers, drug-resistant malaria. It's a vast, untapped pharmacy.
We're only just beginning to understand it scientifically.
Exactly. Now, if we dive into some major categories, it becomes even clearer.
Let's do it. What are some of the main classes of compounds found?
Okay, first we have terpenoids. This is a huge, diverse group. Very powerful compounds plants make naturally.
And their effects.
Broad effectiveness. Some, like warburgonal and eusigadio, show significant antifungal and antibacterial activity, even against resistant bugs like Staphylococcus aureus.
Impressive. Anything else?
Even more remarkably, compounds like englerinin, a specific terpenoid, show incredible promise. It selectively targets and destroys kidney cancer cells. Very potent, at extremely low concentrations.
Wow, selective targeting. That's huge in cancer research.
It is. Other terpenoids like vernolepin and vernominin kill tumor cells and inhibit tumor growth in lab studies. And another one, entcar 16 and 19 oic acid from Schefflera umbellifera, shows anti-malarial activity.
So, potent effects against infections, cancer, malaria, just from terpenoids. What else?
Next up, coumarins. These are known for diverse properties: antiviral, cytotoxic cell killing, enzyme inhibition, antimicrobial, even anticoagulant effects. Blood thinning.
Like specific ones.
Yes, examples like 7-hydroxycoumarin and 7-methoxycoumarin demonstrate effective antibacterial and antifungal activity.
Another broad spectrum class. What about flavonoids? We hear about those a lot.
We do, and for good reason. Flavonoids are well documented for a huge range of activities.
Such as?
Powerful anti-inflammatory effects, antimicrobial, antiviral, anti-ulcer properties, liver protection, hepatoprotective, anti-tumor activity, and significant antioxidant effects. Very versatile.
Okay, and quinones and anthraquinones.
These often show potent inhibitory effects on various biological processes, plus notable antimicrobial activity against different pathogens.
And then xanthones and anthrones.
These have documented anti-HIV properties.
Really? Anti-HIV.
Yes. Also anti-protozoal activity, anti-cancer effects, enzyme inhibition. For example, 1,4,7-dihydroxyxanthone showed anti-HIV activity and inhibited HIV-1 reverse transcriptase, a crucial enzyme for the virus.
Incredible potential there. What about lignans and stilbenes?
Known for anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and cytotoxic properties. Also potential as anti-malarial agents and even anti-implantation activities, potentially preventing pregnancy.
Resveratrol fits in here, right?
Exactly. Resveratrol and its glycosides are widely known for potent antioxidant properties, often studied for anti-aging and heart health.
Okay, moving on to tannins. What do they do?
Tannins are particularly noted for strong antioxidant activity, like from Uncaria tomentosa. They can also inhibit tumor promotion, have antiviral properties, including inhibiting HIV-1 reverse transcriptase again.
Wow, another one hitting HAD enzyme.
Yes. Plus anti-leishmanial and anthelmintic effects targeting parasites and worms. And they impact cardiovascular activity too, lowering blood pressure, inhibiting platelet aggregation, which helps prevent clots.
It's amazing how many different pathways these compounds hit. What about alkaloids?
Alkaloids are one of the most diverse groups. Huge range of activities. Antimicrobial, cytotoxic, anti-inflammatory, neuropharmacological.
Neuropharmacological, affecting the brain.
Yes. They're even highlighted for potential in antidepressant treatment by inhibiting serotonin reuptake, like many modern antidepressants.
Any specific examples?
Aquamine from Pinetida showed antiplasmodial activity, suggesting potential against malaria.
Okay, and lastly, ceramides and cerbricides.
These are noted for inducing apoptosis.
Program cell death.
Right. Getting damaged or cancerous cells to self-destruct. They also have anti-molluscicidal activity killing mollusks, which can be important for diseases spread by snails.
So it's undeniable. These plants are a treasure trove of bioactive compounds.
Yeah.
Can you give some specific plant examples that come up often?
Absolutely. The traditional medicines collected and analyzed cover a wide range of conditions aligning with these findings.
Like
Aphramoma meligata, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, anti-candidal. Harangana madagascariensis, antimicrobial against bacteria like Staph aureus. Moringa oleifera, traditionally used for malaria, wound healing, research supports it.
Milklia letifolia.
Used for malaria, sterility, stomach ache, shown to be antibacterial, anti-candidal. Psidium guajava guava, known for antispasmodic, anti-diabetic, anti-diarrhea uses.
Keep going.
Securidaca longa pedunculata, antibacterial. Warburgia salutaris, anti-candidal. Ziziphus mauriciana shows cytotoxicity. Diospyros abyssinica and Terminalia catapa, both potent antioxidants.
The list just goes on.
It really does. The sheer breadth of pharmacological activities provides compelling scientific validation for centuries of traditional use. It points to this vast, largely untapped pharmacy.
Rich in potential drug leads.
Exactly. Many addressing serious global health challenges like rising diabetes rates in Africa or the urgent need for new antimalarials due to resistance.
It's absolutely clear there's immense scientifically validated value here.
Yeah.
But as you hinted earlier, the journey to global recognition hasn't been simple.
Not at all. The historical context is vital to understand the current dynamics and challenges.
For centuries, Africa has been influenced by external systems.
For at least 7 centuries, yes. Absorbed by, participated in external economic, socio-political, ideological, religious systems, largely European and Arab. This fundamentally reshaped things.
And this absorption often damaged indigenous healing systems, right?
Profoundly. Our sources explain how Western anthropology and biomedicine, tellingly rebranded tropical medicine, were inseparable from 19th century imperialism.
Not just science, but a tool of control.
Precisely. This period saw the deliberate construction of the diseased African body narrative, the African as a vector of infection.
Which then justified suppressing indigenous systems.
Exactly. It necessitated denigrating and suppressing what were actually efficient indigenous healing systems that had served communities for ages. This rhetoric sadly expedited the idea of the expendability of people from the afflicted continent.
Horrifying. And this legacy continues.
Disturbingly, yes. The sources note these colonial perspectives often persist quite explicitly sometimes in many African ministries of health today, leading to ongoing struggles for recognition for traditional healers.
And then there were those new traditional doctors in the 70s.
Yes, often more commercially focused, imitating Western practices, forming organizations with membership cards. While maybe trying to modernize, it ended up confusing the traditional conception and practice, blurring lines.
And there was direct suppression, too.
Oh, yes. In Ghana, late 19th, early 20th centuries, active suppression, especially away from the coast, as colonial and missionary activity grew. Even under Nkrumah, despite some efforts to organize healers, the political economy and prevailing attitudes still impacted their vocation.
Yet, ironically, earlier Europeans actually recognized their effectiveness.
Exactly. People like Bozeman and William Smith in the 17th and 18th centuries wrote about very surprising cures, even seeing their own countrymen cured when European doctors were baffled, a stark contrast to later colonial denigration.
Which brings us to today, and the global knowledge economy.
A crucial context. National wealth shifts from resources to knowledge, its acquisition, manipulation, application. So ownership and control of indigenous knowledge by Africans becomes paramount.
It's about sovereignty, economic, intellectual, cultural.
But here's a major concern from the sources. Indigenous knowledge centers are often based in the West. They often document, institutionalize, decide what gets disseminated, acting as brokers between academia and business.
Raising questions about who really benefits.
Yeah. Exactly. Is it global health or global profit? Which leads to skepticism about motives behind, say, WHO guidelines for the massive $60 billion herbal medicine industry.
Are they purely humanitarian?
The sources urge suspicion, given the history. Pharmaceutical companies prioritizing profit, suing developing countries over generic AIDS drugs.
Sure.
It casts a shadow. Profit over people.
This history highlights that core challenge, the irreconcilable paradigms debate.
Yes, attempts to separate the empirical from the spiritual in indigenous medicine to fit it into modern healthcare.
What happens then?
The sources argue it's bound to result not in the promotion of indigenous medicine, but on the contrary, in rendering it as mechanical and segmented as modern medicine may have become. A strong warning against reductionism.
Against losing the very essence of it. Folks' idea that indigenous African medicine is irreconcilable with our own Western biomedicine makes more sense.
Even if there's compatibility in some areas, like maybe contagious disease, the fundamental philosophies are just so different. True integration risks diminishing the indigenous system.
And the irony
is that high levels of collaboration already exist among indigenous healers themselves, like in Côte d'Ivoire. This internal network, this organic knowledge exchange, is rarely acknowledged or included in external health projects.
Wow.
Often because of that lingering perception, traditional healers are poorly organized, low formal education, cannot be equal partners. It limits critical thinking, hinders real progress.
So the Western framework imposes its values,
leading to a reductionist view of inherently holistic systems. The challenge is moving beyond that colonial legacy towards truly collaborative models that respect indigenous knowledge on its own terms.
Okay, so given this really complex history, these ongoing challenges, what are the paths forward? What needs to happen to truly value and leverage African indigenous medicine? Respect its integrity, benefit its people. We can't just stand still.
No, absolutely not. And connecting this to the bigger picture, the first vital step is truly acknowledging indigenous knowledge itself, recognizing it as an invaluable source of wealth, intellectual, cultural, spiritual, not just economic for Africans. It's foundational.
And within that, recognizing things like proverbs as living knowledge archives.
Exactly. They aren't just quaint sayings. They place perception in a communal context, foster critical thinking, gain credibility from ancestral wisdom. A dynamic, living archive.
Like that proverb embodying optimism.
Anyama wayariana oma waaduro.
If Anyami gives you sickness, Anyam also gives you medicine. It captures that fundamental belief in healing being available, linked to the creator, inherent in creation.
Beautifully put. Yet there's also a concern raised.
About losing touch with the heritage.
Yes, that younger Akan generations might be becoming oblivious to the knowledge embedded in things like gold weights or ethno or Adinkra symbols. Even healers might not know the specific medicinal links to these symbols anymore.
Highlighting a need for internal preservation, revitalization, education.
Definitely. Which raises the question, beyond external validation, what about dialogue and collaboration within Africa?
Right, people already travel for healing.
Yes, patients travel within Ghana. Healers travel between countries, sharing knowledge, studying other African traditions. There's an organic, continent-wide exchange happening.
And internal collaboration that often goes unrecognized by outsiders.
Precisely. A vibrant network built on shared wisdom.
So what about modern research then? Where should that be going?
There are efforts to develop value-added research, moving beyond just identifying compounds to understanding how they work, their mechanisms, and fostering truly collaborative efforts with indigenous healers.
Grounded in indigenous perspectives. Equitable partnership.
That's the goal. Though the sources are clear. While we've isolated many compounds, studying their mechanisms is still early days, and robust clinical evidence, the Western gold standard, is often lacking.
A critical gap to address for broader acceptance.
It is. But despite that, these plants offer huge promise for global health issues. Rising diabetes in Africa, especially type 2.
Which is over 90% of cases there.
Yes. And the urgent need for new antimalarials due to resistance. Many African plants show potent activity here.
Tangible contributions to pressing challenges. So finally, what about regulation and trade? What's happening on that front?
Well, many African countries, Angola, Benin, Ghana, Kenya, Mali, Nigeria, South Africa, Tanzania, Uganda, Zambia, Zimbabwe, others are developing traditional medicine policies, legislative frameworks, often with WHO support.
Like Tanzania's Institute of Traditional Medicine.
Yes, researching safety, efficacy, phytochemistry. But tellingly, almost all registered herbal products there are imported.
Despite their own rich knowledge in biodiversity.
Exactly. It points to challenges in local manufacturing, commercialization, investment.
But the local markets are strong.
Oh, yes. Buoyant informal markets in cities and rural areas across Africa. Yaoundé, Cairo. It shows enduring grassroots demand and trust.
And now industrial interest is growing.
Yes, for herbal healthcare, cosmetics, nutritional supplements, creating opportunities but also risks around intellectual property, benefit sharing.
And those unique local practices persist.
Like in parts of Ethiopia where treatment might be free, but a token is believed necessary for the medicine to work. It's not payment. It's about belief, reciprocity, the cultural dimension.
Underscoring the holistic view.
Absolutely. Ultimately, the path forward isn't replacement traditional for modern or vice versa. It's recognizing the distinct strengths of each.
Fostering authentic, equitable partnerships.
Empowering African communities to control their knowledge and rigorously investigating how ancient wisdom can inform new, culturally appropriate, effective health solutions.
What a journey. We've really explored the intricate world of Akan indigenous healing from its spiritual depths, the roles of its practitioners, to the hard science validating the plant compounds. And we've seen how history has shaped perceptions, the ongoing complex challenges of integrating such different medical paradigms.
And while that impulse to categorize, simplify, standardize is so strong in modern science, our sources consistently emphasize that the real power of indigenous medicine lies in its holistic, integrated nature. Spirit, community, ethics, the natural world, all inseparable from healing.
So for you, the listener, what does this all mean? I think it means recognizing that medicine is far broader, far deeper than many of us in the West might initially think.
It's an invitation, really.
To appreciate the immense, often overlooked, deeply interconnected contributions of indigenous knowledge systems to health and well-being globally.
Absolutely.
And here's where it gets really, truly thought-provoking for me. If healing is so deeply tied to purpose, to ethical existence, as the Akan believe, and if, as the sources suggest, even distorting knowledge can impact physical health, what does that suggest about the fragmented, often reductionist approach of modern medicine, its impact on overall well-being?
It's a challenging question.
Could a true deep dive into these indigenous perspectives offer, maybe, a blueprint? A blueprint for a more genuinely holistic, culturally resonant approach to health on a global scale. One that goes far beyond just extracting compounds, and instead embraces the whole intricate web of human existence.